Well, my theory for Avengers Doomsday was completely wrong. At least for right now and what we have from the Fantastic Four First Steps. So today's video is going to be my brand new theory on how I think Avengers Doomsday will go with the information that we have. So obviously, if you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of spoilers from the Fantastic Four movie. So if you haven't watched it, please save this video and come back. If you're new here, please subscribe and don't forget to like the video. But let's go ahead and talk about Avengers Doomsday. So at the end of Fantastic Four First Steps, we see in the mid-credit scene our first look at Dr. Doom. He's wearing his green hood. You can see the mask in his hand, and he is talking to Franklin Richards. So this is like a 4 to 5 year gap in between the ends of Fantastic Four. So Franklin Richards is already reading fancy books. He's pretty much smart already. Sue takes a step away for a moment and comes back and sees Dr. Doom standing in front of him. Now listen, this doesn't show a lot, so I'm not trying to be delusional, but this kind of confirms a couple things for me, so just hear me out. Dr. Doom is 100% from their universe, because there was a lot of confusion with Robert Downey Jr. being the casting, so they were saying maybe he is from 616 and he ended up getting a face recognition to look like Tony, things like that. People thought it was a Tony variant, saying that it could just be Tony Stark from a different universe. All the above, but I do think this confirms that this is a Dr. Doom version from 828, which is the Fantastic Four universe. And I do think this confirms that it's going to be his goal to take Franklin Richards himself and escape. And to me, that causes a lot of problems. So if you watch my last theory video, I assumed that they were going to lose to Galactus. Galactus would destroy their universe, and it would cause the Fantastic Four to go and leave, and they would end up in 616. And if you know Dr. Doom versus Reed Richards, that's the whole entire rivalry. That's the main reason why Dr. Doom, what he does, is because of envy of Reed Richards. If the Fantastic Four lost to Galactus and let their universe go, and Dr. Doom was also managed to escape, that would be a perfect excuse for me for his hatred towards Reed. Saying like, look, I could have been smart enough to think of a plan, and you couldn't. Like, I could go protect the 616 universe, and you can't. I won't let you go there and destroy that universe. And I feel like that would have been a good motivation to also have Battle World, which is the events of Secret Wars in the comics, where Dr. Doom collides a whole bunch of different worlds together after stealing Beyonder's powers, etc. It would build Dr. Doom's purpose to get to the 616 universe, study and learn their planet, learn why Tony was such an idolized to them because of what he did for them. He would take Tony Stark's identity, try to gain trust, manipulate a whole bunch of people, take a bunch of different powers from everybody, and use that to create Battle World and put like an armor around the world type of thing, which is a reference from Tony Stark. I thought when Dr. Doom would study Tony and see that he wanted to put an armor around the world, that would be like his pure motivation of like, I will be protecting this planet since Reed couldn't protect mine. And to me, that would have been completely cinema. Like, that would have been an amazing like plot line for me, in my opinion. And it would have been the only way to make sense. But Galactus didn't destroy the planet. And that confirms that the Fantastic Four will be going back to their planet once everything is done with Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So not only does it confirm that there's a different Dr. Doom, this also confirms that there's going to be a Fantastic Four that's on the 616 universe that we're not even seeing yet, and we probably won't see for a very long time. And that leaves the question, like, what is Dr. Doom's purpose going to be? Because I don't know. Because throughout the movie, they gave us little hints of Latveria, which is where obviously Dr. Doom's territory. And he didn't show up to the meetings talking about the decisions for the world twice. So there's obviously some history, some connection, and why Dr. Doom doesn't like them. So let's say Avengers Doomsday takes place right where we left off in Fantastic Four. It shows Dr. Doom fighting Sue Storm. Maybe the rest of the family is there. Dr. Doom ends up fighting them, and he takes Franklin and leaves. Maybe Victor's like, look, if I stay in this universe, they're going to chase me around forever. Everybody's a fan of them. Nobody likes me here. I need to leave universes. And let's say that ship at the end of Thunderbolts, in that post-credit scene where they see the Fantastic Four ship going into their universe, let's say that's Dr. Doom. Let's say he's the first ship that is going into their universe and the Fantastic Four is chasing him, going right behind him. Now you can say Victor Von Doom's purpose, because he's from the 828 universe, that he saw what Galactus wanted to do with Franklin. He saw about how much power that he has. So Dr. Doom is probably like, I could take that power myself. But Dr. Doom isn't just built off greed to where he's like, okay, well, I just want power. That's not his thing. He cares about Latveria, and he cares about upping Reed. Reed saved the universe, he saved the planet, he saved his son, he saved his family. So what would the purpose be here? And that's why I feel like it's really scaring me, because if I feel like they're gonna cut a lot of corners. If they're gonna just be like, well, Dr. Doom really wanted the power of Franklin Richards and he wanted to create his own universe and stuff, that would be, it would feel so lazy to me, I'm going to be completely honest. Maybe afterwards, when he already had his purpose and it didn't get fulfilled or did get fulfilled, he would want more power. But it would just be so lazy to me, and it's really, really scaring me. And who knows, maybe Dr. Doom's philosophy still stands for my last theory, even if Galactus didn't destroy the planet. Maybe Dr. Doom was like, look, even though you did protect this planet, I don't want nothing to happen to us. So I want to put an armor around the world, which is very similar to what Tony wants. So maybe he goes to the 616 universe after he takes Franklin and realizes that he needs to get all the power in the world to do this whole battle world situation. That's when he will decide to take Tony Stark's face to look like him, because his face is already all messed up. He knows that the 616 universe will idolize him. And that's when he'll get like this whole like I'll rule the world type of thing, and everybody will follow my lead because I look like Tony Stark and I want to protect everybody. That is the only way that I see this thing saving any type of plot line right now, because I feel like they're all over the place. Let's skip around the plot for now and talk about Avengers Secret Wars, because this is going to be the setup movie and what it leads to, right? So in order for Dr. Doom to do anything and become like God Emperor Doom and to bring all these worlds together, he's going to need power. Now he has a lot of options. He can go take that from Franklin Richards. He can go find Loki and take the powers from him, because in the comic books, Beyonder was the person that Dr. Doom took the powers from, and there's a lot of other key characters in this book like Molecule Man, etc. A lot of powerful people that we have not gotten introduced to yet, so I don't know how they will fit without any type of background. But Loki would be like my top guess. He's God of Stories right now. He has the ability to hold all these timelines together, so he's going to have the power to bring all these universes together as well. Now let's talk about the Fantastic Four, and once they get to the universe, how that's going to work. At the end of the Thunderbolts movie, when they're tracking the ship going into the universe, they're obviously going to find out where it lands. They might call Sam, whatever the case may be. Now, Dr. Doom might be on that first ship, and that will be the first interaction between them, and that's when they fight, and Dr. Doom would obviously beat all of them. But then, shortly after the Fantastic Four ship lands, and they're going to come out the ship, and the Avengers are going to be looking at them like, what in the world is going on? Like, who are you guys? That would be a cool fight scene for them, the Fantastic Four versus the Avengers, and they're going to be like, look, this is Dr. Doom, he took our child, and that's when they're going to explain the history between the two. And that's where I feel like we'll get like these flashbacks and these like kind of like these prequel scenes of Dr. Doom's hatred towards Reed, their history that they had with each other. Dr. Doom is already set in stone, so they obviously had to have some type of fight, or Dr. Doom had to be some type of villain or whatever already. And I feel like they let Dr. Doom be alone in his universe on Latveria. I think that will take up a lot of time for Avengers Doomsday, and I do think that's where we're going to get our closure on them having some type of history with Reed and the Fantastic Four. It would make a lot of fans feel a lot more comfortable. Have to avoid the mess. I am hoping in that explanation where they show the background between Reed and Victor Von Doom and the Fantastic Four, they explain his purpose and why he wants to do what he's going to do. Because I'm truly running out of ideas at this point. They're not showing a lot, and the only way that I thought it would be very possible, they went a completely different direction. Now listen, I think they're going to go the Avengers Infinity War route. Dr. Doom is going to win. He is going to get Battleworld, because it's already confirmed that the whole entire X-Men cast is going to be in this movie, and they're from the Fox universe. So these worlds are going to collide. Dr. Doom, for all I know, could be going universe to universe at this damn point and just stopping by and causing a whole lot of mayhem or something. I don't know. But it would make the most sense if Dr. Doom ends up getting the power to create Battleworld, all these worlds collide, and the third act of this movie is going to be the X-Men, the Avengers, and the Fantastic Four fighting it out for whatever reason, and then coming together at the end and trying to find a way to stop Dr. Doom, which would be a lot like Avengers Endgame. And Kevin Feige already talked about it as well, like the interactions between the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and picking their brains, and how those scenes are like something that he always dreamed of having. So I do think that like majority of the time, they're going to be trying to figure things out. And Anthony Mackie also talked about Sam Wilson's Captain America was going to have a fight or like a interaction with Cyclops. This is going to be something like we've all dreamed about. At least I've always dreamed about. I've always been Team X-Men when it comes to X-Men versus Avengers, and I've always loved like the little conflict between like the X-Men always wanting the Avengers' help. And I think it'll be so unique because the X-Men will have like Avengers on their universe, I'm assuming. I remember Deadpool and Wolverine where Logan was like, bro, F the Avengers, they've done nothing for us. So I think it'll just be like a cool interaction to see between these two. But I am just so scared that this movie is going to be completely messy. They also talked about and said that they're going to explain why Dr. Doom looks like Tony Stark, and why they will have a relationship between these two characters. Robert Downey Jr. has been posting on his story almost every single week showing Iron Man versus Dr. Doom. And I've also saw that there's going to be different versions of Iron Man in this film as well. This is going to be one of the like most messiest multiverse stuff like you could imagine. I think it will be dope. I would love to see different versions of Iron Man be alive and have different versions of Dr. Doom like trying to explain to him and give him what he wants, etc. To be manipulative, to have his face, and all the other versions of Iron Man are so confused of why like Dr. Doom looks like this. If they somehow manage to adapt the reason why Dr. Doom is doing all this to protect his universe and to put an armor around the world. Again, they just have to adapt this somehow, some way, to make Iron Man be involved. He has to be the sole reason and purpose around this plot. Franklin Richards obviously can be around the plot for power. I think Loki would be a good adaptation as well. I don't know if they would add Beyonder, like I said earlier. But having Robert Downey Jr. be casted, it's like, I'm excited for it. I'm not against it. He's one of the best actors ever in the MCU, so people can act like they're not excited about that. I will never understand. And he's not even the actual Doctor Doom, which I'm very glad about. He's from a completely different universe. He's not from our universe. Maybe this could set up our version of Doctor Doom wanting to see this power and stuff. You never know, bro. I'm looking forward to a lot of the stuff. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the X-Men and Avengers interactions. I don't even think the X-Men are going to live. I think that whole Fox universe is just going to die out. And that's why when Doctor Doom wins in Avengers Secret Wars and the timeline resets, I think that's why we get a new cast. But I'm very excited to see the Fantastic Four interact with people from our universe, interact with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, and just like pick his brains out, see how smart he is, talk about gamma radiation, talk to Sam being the leader of the Avengers. All this stuff is going to be so cool to watch as like a Marvel fan. You know, there's nothing more you could ask for. Multiverse stuff is completely messy. I truly understand that. But it sells because it's the most entertaining. I wanted to solely talk about Avengers Doomsday because I did talk a lot about Avengers Secret Wars in the last video. If you want a video about that, I can explain the Secret Wars comic and explain like what happens. There's so many different characters involved, like that matter, that are like key characters, not just side characters that are really important to what's happening. I don't know how they're going to integrate or interpret all that with little time. Even the Fantastic Four, the way they got shoved into this saga right now at the start of Phase 6, and them not even being from our planet, it seems like it's still rushed, but they still managed to do a really good job. You don't want them to rush everything else. So like I said my original theory of what I thought would happen for Avengers Doomsday. They went a completely different route. I do think Doctor Doom is going to be really important. I do think the only way to save this and to not make it seem too out of control is if you adapt that Doctor Doom wants to put an armor around the world and to protect everybody. And you can see him doing his own version of Battleworld. Maybe it's not too similar to the Secret War comics. And he can see Franklin as like a power source, maybe as like a starting point, and maybe try to take his power to be able to do all this. Because Franklin can create galaxies. He could do everything that Beyonder pretty much wants to do. I think this movie will talk a lot about the background between Reed and Doctor Doom. I think that'll be like the first hour to hour and a half of this movie. And the third act of this movie will just be an insane multiversal mess. Well, the start of Battleworld, all the universes colliding and all these fights happening, and that will set up for Avengers Secret Wars. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. I'm very interested to know what you guys think. I hope you guys talk in the comments because I'm going to be looking to see what your guys' theories are. I want to talk about a lot of things. I want to talk about how the X-Men will be involved in this, the Fox universe. I want to talk about the Secret Wars concept and their lineups. If you want more videos about that, please just let me know. That will be it for this video. I'm really praying and hoping this movie turns out fine, but I'll catch y'all in the next one.